Hi there, I'm Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my sewing room. You can follow my sporadic posting at Bonnie Log Cabin Stitcher on Instagram. It's been a couple weeks. It's been several attempts that I've made to do this video, but my schedule has gotten really sporadic, and here I am. So my table has been piled since last Sunday. So it's a week and a half it's been piled with as I've tried to video and just getting interrupted. So I just thought today's the day because I want to get into making some project bags for gifts tonight. So here we go. It has been a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks of a lot of stuff going through my mind, and that's part of what has been a framework of mine for the last couple weeks about things that I've been doing, changing up some things that I've always done, trying to make them fit my future better. So I went to Hobby Lobby this morning after work to try to find a frame for a finish I have. I have finishes, I have FFOs, I have a new stitching box, and I have so much, but it's under this table. So I went to Hobby Lobby and they were just putting Christmas decorations out. Now, I came from a history, decades of making wood decorations and having tons and tons of stuff, taking days to set up. And that's what I used to do. My friends and I used to have competitions on how much stuff we could put up in our house, and we traded a lot, and it was very fun. But that's not my lifestyle anymore. I don't like the decorating part. I like the sitting down with my cup of coffee and enjoying it after it's all done. So I've had that kind of framework on less is more. That's my husband and I, our new thing, less is more. So here I go to Hobby Lobby to look for a frame and pick up one DMC floss. And I was just going to look around because I hadn't been there in a while. So I picked up a few things, but in this framework of mine, I wanted to share with you what I found, but it's really to go with all the smalls and all the cross-stitching projects that I finished, because I see my friends on Instagram. And some of my favorites, and I've mentioned you over and over, these ladies do these displays and bring things together with little props, just like the Blackbird design ladies. And I just thought, okay, what little things could I find? So in this framework, I had a lot of things in my arms, and everything was like 50% off today that I was looking at. So in this framework, one of the frameworks is I have come up with a 5-year plan just to keep my sanity, that in 5 years, our goal is to have the house paid off, to retire, to potentially sell this home and move. And it has been a long month, because the first time I brought that up to my husband, I was bawling and got incredibly depressed that week. And now I'm trying to process through and move forward and think of fun things that could have to do with that. It may never happen, but it's just a plan. Then I've been binge watching tiny house tours because we have a cabin in the mountains, and it is a very, very small log cabin. It is about 550 square feet. So downstairs is just a kitchen that's demolished, waiting for a new kitchen. We have a bathroom that's just done, but we still have no running water. We're very primitive up there. We have a very small front room that everything needs to be pretty functional. We'll have a couple places for decorations, but my husband has spent a lot of time sanding down our real log walls, and they're flat, so they're really nice for hanging. But I know he's not going to want tons of stuff up on the walls. And in the bathroom, as we've been hanging stuff, because the bathroom is almost finished, it just feels so weird to be putting a hole in these beautiful log walls that he has refurbished. A very old log cabin with a lot of damage. So keeping that in mind, I had to finish, and I was trying to think, okay, what do I want to do? A small pillow, a small frame that I could just set. So that's my framework. But also the tiny house living. as I've been watching that, I've been trying to get the idea of what it's like to simplify, what it's like to have dual purpose for each item, and what it's like to live minimally. And that's not me generally. So in that framework, this is why I only bought a small amount of what I really, really wanted, as well as the fact that inflation is here. Gas prices went up from Sunday to Tuesday. They went up 20 cents. And then they just went up 10 cents again where I'm living. And I drive a lot. So all of a sudden my fun money, boom, it's gone. It ain't no fun spending all my money on just stuff to live. So I was very careful. So as I bought stuff, I used to buy a lot of styrofoam items. So they had beautiful berries that these are probably styrofoam inside, but they're stronger. But the larger the berry, and it's coated, it's almost like candy coated, but it's plastic coated, but that styrofoam is inside. And over the years, it cracks. And so a lot of the Christmas decorations, the cranberry things, those are cracked, and I just turn them, or I pull them out and make them work. So I thought, I'm not buying any more of that because I really wanted, they had beautiful bittersweet, and I got a lot of decorations already for Thanksgiving up. So I thought, okay, narrow down, simplify on what I buy because I want it to last year after year after year. So these are what I got. These were $3.99, and Hobby Lobby. And I know for those of you that don't live in the United States or buy a Hobby Lobby or a box store like that, hopefully you've got fun stores that you can get some things, because these ended up being only $1.99. And I do primitive, so I don't do the cutesy, I don't do the bright. I love primitive, and I love things that look as real as possible. So of course you got to work at it, and you got to move those. But I was really happy with these, even though if you get close they look funky. But I got 4 of these, so that was very fun. And so that way I can do different things with them as I'm doing the smalls. And one of them, a Thanksgiving one I just did. So let's get that put away. Then the Tiny House Living, which I have actually followed for years because of our cabin. That one's Small House Living, I think, technically. 550 square feet is small. But I have a book like this at home. So this was half price. So, you know, for $7, I had to think. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm really thinking, am I going to be sorry when I pack up and move, if we do, or 3 years from now when I'm taking the stuff to the thrift store? Am I going to wish I didn't buy this item? That's why many things I looked at and I put right back, because I thought, yeah, I've got something just like this. I have one like this already, and I have it in the front room. I've had it for years, and I love it. And Tiny House Living, everything is multi-purposed. So the one thing I was thinking is spring decorations. And I have very, very few spring kind of decorations. So I've just been collecting and gathering stuff that I've got primarily. I have very, very old vintage tools, all rusty, gorgeous. Those will be great for me springtime because I love primitive. And just trying to think, what can I gather? What can I use? So I thought eventually we have these this looks like a Western bluebird. We have these up in the mountains. So eventually when the cabin is done downstairs and I'm able to put decorations up, this would be beautiful because I want to bring in some nice light colors. But for now, I thought down at home with some spring decorations and some spring smalls that I have. So that one, not bad, $7. Then I got, because if we sell our house and we're at this moment, we're playing with the idea of wintering at our cabin. Remember, 550 square feet, and it is not finished right now, and no running water. So we have got some work to do, friends. So in that, I'm thinking I'm not buying big decorations. First off, all my fun money is pretty much gone, and I don't want to pack it up, and I don't want any more decorations than what I have. So these can pack nice and tight. But I have a beautiful Christmas decoration. I'll add cross stitch and stitched smalls, but I've honed down. I actually have reduced by about 50% my Christmas decorations over the years. That was my goal. Many Christmases, because I went from a whole entire shed of Christmas decorations. And remember, that was my business. And many of them were ones that I had made. I reduced. Every year I reduced by one box, and I would give it away as gifts. I would sell it, or I would take it to the thrift store. But the things that I have, I thought, oh, trees would be a beautiful accent. Okay, so for $2.50, I got this. And from a distance, it looks primitive. They had tall ones. They had a beautiful tall one I could have gotten for $10. But I thought, no, reduce. Because if we're Christmasing up at the log cabin, I don't even know. I have a pencil tree. We would probably use that pencil tree. And I thought, okay, everything could be really tiny and squished. But that's my mentality. But also with stress, you buy. So I did good. I did good. And then another one, I thought, okay, so this could be cute to leave up at the cabin. Actually, I know I have one place that I could put this right now in a little cubby, and it would look cute. Okay, so that is cute. And then these probably have cancer-causing chemicals on them. I'm usually very careful about whatever chemicals I bring in my house. But these were just so cute. I couldn't resist. So I have some deer, and I thought, oh, when I set up my Christmas decorations, these would be cute. So I'm going to have to definitely package them separate. But I am so looking forward to the first time that we get to go up to our cabin, and there is snow on the trees. It is so magical, and I look forward to that. We had decided when we bought our cabin in 1990, for better or for worse, that was pre-children, back when we worked and we had the money. And then you have kids. And they are our treasure. I would never go back. But also, if I went back, we shouldn't have bought the log cabin, because it's just, we have 2 neglected homes now. But anyway, we decided we weren't going to travel. That was our money for vacations, is the cabin. And so I've been binge watching Rick Steves, the traveling channel, because I thought I could sit in my home and I can watch him travel. I don't like to pack a suitcase, so that's why it's great up at the cabin. A lot of times I have clothes up there, so I could literally just go up there. I got my toothbrush. I got everything. We don't have extra food up there. So we could literally not really pack much. Of course, I'm going to bring my stitching, but I have stitching up there too. So I hate packing. So I have been really enjoying watching Rick Steves and watching his travel channels. So that's been very fun. Then I did a video maybe 2 weeks ago. And it was called Just a Bit of a Chat, about catching you up on what's been happening. I really am going to show my stitching, but I have to get down to it because it's at the bottom of this table. So I did a video where with the framework of preparing the house to sell. That's why we need 5 years, because we've been here 34 years and I got a lot of crap all over the place. So I gutted out a closet, and I was just sharing my treasures and sharing some fun things, and also documenting, because I have a lot of bears that I inherited from my mother that were her artisan bears. She was an artisan bear maker, and her friends. And I inherited them when she passed away, some of them. And it was time for me to pass them on, because it was a healthy thing for me to do, because I have tons of her bears, and remember, less room. This is one that I will always have. This is her very special WC that really was intended when I was 21, I think, is when she fell in love with bears. She bought this for me. We were together, and she bought this for me. It was a $5 bear at a bear sale. This started her love and her lifetime of bear making, and this one is very, very tender and very, very special. And I was telling somebody, we were talking about hard times, and we were just encouraging each other. And the day that Mom dressed, this was hers, and even the last visit that I had with her 7 years ago in October was my last visit with her before she passed away. And she was dressing, she and I were dressing WC, because it was October, so we dressed him in his little sweater, handmade by my aunt. and we were dressing it, and during that time, I just started crying because we knew she was dying, and it had not been easy for years, and she knew of all my siblings, older sister, younger brother, I'm the very, very sensitive one. And she said, Bonnie, you are stronger than you think you are. And I have held on to that, and I have told my children that, and I have remembered that. And another sweet lady that I had met, we were just encouraging each other with just neat things just to give us strength and courage to go through life. So that was WC. We're going to put him right there. That's I keep knocking that thing over. Let's just take that down. So that's where WC has been. Okay, so that last video, just a bit of a chat. Really, it was a lot of a chat because it was like an hour and a half long, but it was just talking about life and my life. So I shared in that how I had been cleaning out the garage because it was all about cleaning and it was all about reducing my garden and why. But I had shared some stuff that I found in my garage in a box that was open, and it had been open for years, and this had gotten wet, and there were spots on it. So I was just mentioning I've got to try to clean it, and if it has the spots, it has the spots. And one of my commenters, one of my viewers, my sweet family, was mentioning you might want to try vintage soap, but she said it may whiten it up too much. So I looked it up online, and it was not that expensive, but with shipping, I just thought, let's wait and see what I have. So I have QUILT laundry soap, or QUILT soap, what you would wash a quilt in, hand wash or machine wash. And you can purchase it, and it's called Orvis, but it's also just horse shampoo. So my sister brought me some from her barn, and I thought, oh, let's just try that because it's what I have. So I just put some cold water, got that Orvis out, and got it all liquefied, and just let it sit, and then I needed to run off to work. So it actually sat in the sink for several hours because I could tell at first there was still a ring on it. Well, it came clear and it came beautiful. So I think what I'm going to do, I have an antique, I have a very old quilt, a baby quilt. I think I'm going to lay this, and then I've got some old toys. I've got my mom's old teddy bear. So I think I'm going to make a display in my bedroom when that desk, or it's a hope chest. I have a lot of old family things. It's been passed down in my family, and it's been covered by junk. So I'm going to make a neat display. So we'll put that there too. This is a quilt that I've been working on. I got it out to take up to the mountains and work on it. And I keep saying I'm going to be doing a quilting video. I don't know what my life holds, so I plan on doing a quilting video. Now, okay, I can see stuff. So let's show you some fun stuff, and we'll do chatter in between time. So let's have a drink. I told my husband I'm really challenging myself with this whole minimalistic and simplifying lifestyle. Trying to embrace it because I'm a collector, and like when I was cleaning out my closet, I love camisoles. So these are just spaghetti strap camisoles. You can do everything with them. Well, at Walmart they were $3 at one time when I started getting them about 10 years ago. I have probably 25 of them in all different colors. One woman does not need 25 camisoles, but since I got them, I got them. But I am really trying to simplify. So I've told some of my friends, and they're laughing because they know this is a big challenge for me. So even my tea cupboard. So I'm trying to look at each cupboard too, because if we're planning on moving, this is why I need the 5 years to prepare. I have like tons of different teas, and some of them I don't like hot teas anymore. So now I'm making iced tea out of these teas and just trying to use them up and simplifying, because I'm not buying the Zevia sodas anymore because they're way too expensive. So, okay, what was I going to show you? I was going to show you some finishes. Can I do that with stuff that's underneath? Yeah, okay. So this was the reason I went to Hobby Lobby. I was trying to decide what to do with this, and this is what I decided. This is an $8 frame. Now, granted, I would much rather have it smaller, but it was $7.99. It's that cheap veneer. It's not even real wood, so you have to be really careful. It is just thin covered wood. So it's just something for right now, but I want to get it up and displayed. So I thought, okay, $8 is fine to spend. As I was looking on Etsy and they have those real wood frames, I looked at one and I picked one out and I was like, oh, I can't afford that. So honestly, I'm probably going to ask my husband when he's not working. We have the miter saw. I used to be a woodworker, and so I have the tools, and he could make one for me with wood picked out on our property. So that's what I will probably do. But this one, okay, so this frame, if you want another cheap frame, it's just an 8x8 green tree gallery. So 8x8 frame. But here's what my thinking is. And I was trying to come up to terms with this morning as I'm drinking my coffee, thinking, how do I want to finish this? And so I was trying to think, okay, if we're going to small house living and I don't have a lot of room, what if I had one nice frame and I just had inserts? Because that's what I'm doing with my beggars. I have the beggars night, beggars Christmas, all those, and I'm going to have the same frame, and then I just have the flat that you insert into that. That is very, very small space. That's the kind of thinking I've got to get into so I don't create all these beautiful big projects and don't have the storage space for them. So I thought, okay, that's why I think I'm going to get one beautiful, nice frame that can fit a lot of different things in it. So I like to change out for the seasons. Now this I actually made for the cabin, and here's something neat. Up at our cabin, we have ground squirrels. They are like rats. They dig under our foundation. They're bad news. So I am not at all sad when the coyotes and the hawks get them, and I am very happy that the rattlesnakes get them. So we have to put up with rattlesnakes because the ground squirrels and the gophers are such a problem on our little hill where our cabin is built. So we also have gray squirrels again. Now when we had to shut up our cabin, we needed to board it up for about 10 years. That was 10 years of heartache, 10 years of sadness for me. But we opened it again about 7.5 years ago, and we had no gray squirrels. So before the fires that ravaged our area, and our cabin did not burn down. It was one of the few, and it came within about 5 to 10 feet of our cabin. But we had tons of gray squirrels. Well, after the fires, we were asking our neighbors, what happened to all the gray squirrels? And there was a lot of different ideas, and then I looked it up online, and the thought was maybe that there was mites. I think it was mites, maybe that were killing them off. Whatever it was, several years ago, we had spottings of gray squirrels again, and one is living in our little hillside. So it triggers our cameras off all the time, but I love to watch it. Well, I got to see some squirrel love going on. So Mr. Squirrel was chasing Mrs. Squirrel right next to our cabin. So hopefully they will have babies next year. So we are hoping for that in the spring. But I love this. Now when I made this, I have shared a lot about this linen. I love. I'm primitive. I love this linen, and I worked to get that spot right there. That's where I wanted it. This is Cosmic Platinum by Dames of the Needle. I believe it may have been a limited supply, and I bought it off their site on Etsy, but I bought a 1/4 yard. I think it was a fat 1/4, and I adore it. And the problem is I adore it so much, I only did a 2-inch border around it, because what I figured is that I would have 1 inch to work with as I laced it for a smaller frame. So I had to be really careful, but I just made it in here. But it's in here very tenuously. So I thought, well, I cannot lace it if I leave it in this frame unless I get a 7x7 opening. What I will do is get that sticky board, and I will need to put it on that sticky board because there is no lacing. And that's where I just did this right before I pushed record. So I'm going to need to do a little more ironing very, very carefully. But this is the Cosmic Platinum, And because if you can see these little flecks in here, I've talked about these flecks before. These flecks were very inspiring for me because I did some coffee dyeing last week, and I was playing, and as I was driving, I drive a lot for my job. So as I was driving, I was thinking, how can I get those flecks, not flakes. I don't need any more flakes. Okay, flecks. So how can I get those flecks? So I was playing around with that. But this one, Cosmic Platinum, this is 36 count. And let's share with you, I got to be very careful with that. It's Threadworks Primitives. So it's Threadworks Primitives, and this is the pattern, Gather Friends. So I would like more of a, not, maybe a little more primitive, but this is how I would much rather frame it. And look at, see, that was kind of the inspiration for why I bought those picks. Now, here's something else, and I was thinking, oh, I do like simplifying anyway. And I've always been different. My FlossTube videos are probably different than anybody else's. But we each are different than anybody else too. So I know Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, came up with this neat idea of doing floss tags, and a lot of people, I've seen a lot of videos, and they're sharing them, they're mailing them to each other. They are enjoying that. And I thought, for me, I have an issue right now. I'm not doing giveaways right now because I have some weird issue with mailing right now. So that's not a world I'm going to enter into right now. I'm not planning on doing that. Even though I love seeing everybody else do it, it's like, that's not going to be for me right now. Minimalist thinking, simplifying thinking. Remember, this is not coming, just like budgeting. That's what I call the B word. Budgeting is not my thing. So hunting, gathering, buying, that's my thing. Collecting. But okay, so with my new life that I've come in, I really do enjoy these floss tags. So these are just ones that I get. I buy them. They're nice and thick. And I just buy them at Joann's. It's by Park Lane, and it already comes with this hole, and I have a hole punch, and I do this. Now, I was doing a little mark with the symbol, so I didn't have to look in the book for the symbol, and I thought, oh, here's something, because somebody at one time asked me, because I have my floss bags, and that's how I keep my floss. And as I've been thinking, wow, if I winter at our cabin, and at the moment we're playing with the idea of moving to Colorado for maybe 2/3 of the year at the moment. And I thought, well, if I'm traveling back and forth, how am I going to move things? And so that's why I got to think simple. And that's why I love my floss organization. So somebody had asked me, what do I do with them when I'm done? Here's the fun thing. It's like I went into these floss rings and floss jewelry and everything kicking and screaming, because it's like I was not going to do it because I went from how I used to do things to now. Okay, so yeah, there is a huge benefit to not having a floss wad and to have them on here. And now I really like having these same tags, because now it just says, what is that? Tarnished, I can read it backward. Tarnished Gold, GA for Gentle Arts. And then all I do now is I take this off the ring and I pop this in that floss bag. I don't even take it off. Put it in that floss bag, and then I can have that when I go to another project, and I can add more floss on there. So for me, I thought, okay, check. That's fitting the bill. So I feel kind of, it's a weird concept, because I know those floss tags are not for me right now. If I have an issue getting stress about, I needed to mail a birthday card to my dad a week and a half ago, and it's still sitting on my floor because it gives me anxiety. I'm a freak, I know, but I think we all are in different ways. So that can't be where I go. So I feel like it's like, oh, I'm not going to that party. Well, I'm choosing not to go to that party right now because it's just not fitting me right now. This is, and the simplifying. And I think that's part of what I'm working into, with the thought of stop the buying so much. Stop so much buying. Put the brakes on until I figure out what we're going to do with our life. And then it's like, okay, I'm choosing not to go to that party, but I love watching everybody else party, just like I like watching the traveling, but I don't want to pack a suitcase. So you know what? That's me. That's me. Okay. Now, wow, what else can I show you? Okay, so here's who is this from? Oh, hopefully, yes, I know, I remember it. Okay, here is another finish. Now, I hadn't even started this at the last FlossTube video. Look at this as a bell, and I got these little bells at Joann's, so little tiny bells, and I love when they're round, not when they're squared off on the top. So a fun bell. This is from Primitive Stitchin by Shelly Auen, A-U-E-N. So sometimes I find it hard when I look on Etsy for her shop. I have favorited her because I love, so between Threadworks Primitives, Not Forgotten Farm, and Primitive Stitchin by Shelly Auen, A-U-E-N, those are my 3 favorite Etsy shops at the moment that have a lot, that's their business and they do that. So this was very fun. And I wish I had changed the date. The day after I did this and finished this, because this is what the pattern had. The day after I did that, I found a picture of my grandma, and I have the year she was born, and I thought, oh, that would have been fun to put, but I'm not going to undo it. So this is done, and I have been getting practice at, I always do it on the bottom, the blind stitch. See, I don't have my glasses on, but I can't see it right now. So I've got the blind stitch there, and that's how I'm doing it, and I'm stuffing it, and this was my own hand dyed, so this is coffee dyed. So I'm going to be showing you, because I'm going to show you underneath here, that right now, besides I have 2 Lakeside linens that I love, aside from those linens, even more than Wren, I think I am enjoying my own coffee dyed linen, because I learned from my friend Christy, Daisy K's Primitives coffee dyeing demonstration. I have been doing that for almost a year now, and I love it. But I have been doing, so this is coffee dyed linen, then, so I coffee dye the linen first, then I can use my my over dyed linen. So I have no idea now what these were. I think this was Mulberry, and this is probably, oh, I know, this was a mystery black, but it had, see, it's a over dyed. So I love using over dyed. So I will get my stitching journal out. I have no idea where it is, and I'll put those I'll put that information in. But this is my small. So this is one of my finishes. So and that one's called Joy Christmas Stocking. So then when I did my last FlossTube video, I had showed all about this stitching box, and this was a freebie. So please, this is the graphic, and I talked for an hour probably about this baby, the Primitive Hare. This was a freebie. So I found this one when I went to look for this. Everybody was doing this at everybody. See, that was another party I didn't go to. Everybody was doing this one. Well, I went and I printed it out, and then I also printed out that. But I had done this one. So love never fails, 1 Corinthians 13 verse 8. So I had this out, and as I was putting stuff away after my last video, I thought, oh, I want to stitch that right now. And I've been really thinking about this as our world and our nation and society is purposely being divided, one group against another. It is not an accident. I'm very opinionated. That's why I'm also very different. Or because I talk about them. Anyway, I'm responsible for my actions, attitudes, and the thoughts. So what is it? Guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. I need to fill my heart and my mind with love so that I can act in love. That's my responsibility. Nobody else's responsibility to tell me how to act. So I thought love never fails. Now, this again, this was that same piece of that coffee dyed fabric, pre-dyed. And then this was, I want to say Williamsburg. I'll have to write it down. This was one, oh, the other one, so the stocking was 2/2. I started it 1/2 because this is 1/2. But I wanted the depth of color. So I've got blue dye still on my finger, but I wanted that depth. So this is 2/2. Okay, let's just stay focused. Because I was thinking, what did I say? I don't know. What did I say? This 2/2, 36 count. This 1/2, that same. So this is a free pattern from the Primitive Hare. And I had just done it where it was, I was just going to leave it without anything around it. And then I had some chenille. Now I've shared a bit about my finishing. So now, before I would have thought, oh, I need a chenille in every single color there is. So that way in the middle of the night, which is when I generally do my finishing, I will have whatever I want. Well, now I'm thinking, if it doesn't fit in this box, you don't need it, girl. So I can jam a lot of stuff in there. But I'm also thinking, use what I've got. Well, when I put this box together, and this is just a Sterilite box, which I got as a giveaway in my Quilt Guild, I had some different stuff. So when I was doing my bead making, because I got a lot of hobbies, when I was doing my bead making, I had purchased all these. All of these are ribbons, and I did nothing with them with my bead making. Oh, I was going to make necklaces, of course, but I did nothing with them. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do some finishing. So I did, when I did my Emmanuel pouch, I used a red just like this, but I had several colors. Then the other thing is, so this is Lady Dot Creates, and I wanted the deepest, darkest, because I love blood red. I've had a lot of blood lately. I love blood red. And I was just thinking, because I've been dyeing my own stuff, and I thought, oh, can I use my own blood? That's gross. Okay, girl, we don't need to go there. Okay, so as I was doing this, I did not have a dark enough, this was too pink. So a lot of my stuff that I had in here, when I got it, it was just not dark enough. It's not primitive enough. I primitized it. So one day I did all this coffee dyeing, and yep, I just dunked. I had probably half of my stuff that was already dyed. I put it in that coffee and got it darker, and got it grungier. So this was Mingo, and it was just too peachy. So it's grungier and darker now, and it smells like coffee. And I did it. And Christy has been showing, Christy Daisy K's Primitives. I love her stuff. I was talking about how I colored my jute and how I coffee dyed my jute, which is just gardening jute. And so that was there. But Christy did some finishing of some pillows with that jute. Well, anyway, I tried coffee dyeing anything. And I thought, oh, what about the ribbon? So I looked, and just in case you guys, see, I have to look because all this stuff was from a week and a half ago. Okay, this is the last that I have. So of course I'm going to save it because who knows what I could do with it. So when I got it, it was on sale. It was from a place that I used to, and they still have it on sale. There's just not as many colors, or it's still for sale. When I got it, it was on sale because that's the way I roll. Beadaholique, or Beadaholique, Beadaholique. And I wrote it down, but it's a silk ribbon, I think. I'll put it in the show notes because I wrote it down and I don't know right now where my stitching journal is. I will put it in the show notes, and I think it's like a 2 centimeter, I believe, and it's a 40-inch piece, and it comes with the ends finished like this, so you could just trim that off. But this is how it looks. So as I did it, I just stitched it on, and I just ruched it, and because I've been watching Vana, and this is what I got. So I didn't even know if I was going to have enough. I was just happily stitching along because I'm not going to measure and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of figured out, like I knew where the half edge was, and by the time I got up and over, and I thought, okay, good, I have enough. But I liked how it turned out, and I like that I'm using what I have. So I've been giving myself this idea of stitch what you got. So that's been my thing. And if I get back on Instagram, regularly. I'll do a hashtag stitch what you got. If y'all want to do it, you go for it. But it's, when I do it and I write it in my journal, it's stitch and then whatcha, W-A-T-C-H-A, got. So stitch what you got. So that's what I've been doing. And that's been kind of my framework as I knew inflation was coming. We saw it. And oh my word, when I went to Costco, I saw it. And so I knew my fun money was going to be no more. And so and I have tons of stuff. So I am really enjoying Stitch What You Got. So I'm going to show you some things, and then we'll see when I get to an hour. Really after an hour, that's when I got to wind these up because I get so tired. But another finish, and that's a freebie from the Primitive Hare. Now we can put that away. Put this away so I don't have a disaster going. Okay. What else did I finish? Now, this is from Waiting for the Harvest from the Autumn Winds of Autumn by Blackbird Designs. I saw Jenny Stitching Simply had done this in brighter colors with some stuff what she had too. So I did this, and as I was doing this, I had seen Carol Saltbuck Stitcher on one of her videos, and I think it was like number 30, because I went back and I looked at it, and she had done hers with nutmeg, so it was like Gentle Arts nutmeg, but her brown was darker, so she had to use the lighter part for the pumpkin, the darker part for this. Well, it wasn't dark enough, so it's like dark chocolate, Gentle Arts, and nutmeg. Ooh, chocolate and nutmeg sounds good. So when I put it together, after I did it, I just used a scrap of Cordy's Special Blend. It was the last I had. I don't plan on buying it again because it was like a 30 count, which I'm not doing anymore. And the color is just okay. Like I could dye my own and enjoy it more than that. But as I did it, so it was just like that. And right now it's cute. I'm looking at it, but after I'd finished it, I thought, you know, it didn't excite me. Like some things when I finish, I love them. And I thought, whatever. So I thought I need to spice it up. So that's where with, this is just brushed cotton, that helped spice it up. But again, I'm thinking, okay, so with my tiny house living, I could squash it. I could squash everything. So as I'm thinking too, I'm thinking like I had found this from when I got my Thanksgiving decorations out from back when I used to sell things. I don't know what this pattern is. I made them, I sold them forever ago, but I swear inside here is, because I wouldn't have stuffed it, is a real small pillow form. And I thought, well, what a nifty idea. If you make an envelope slit in the back, which is what I do for all my other pillows, that would store flat, and then you could have seasonal pillows that you could make to put on here. But that was kind of the idea for making this. But this guy I stuffed with just that blind stitch on the bottom. So that's just my framework. Oh good, now I can see my table. That's my framework for thinking what I want to do in the future. We may never move. We may stay here for the rest of our life, or we could kick the bucket tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not worrying about it. I'm just going to try to keep that framework of less is more. That's kind of our joke right now. Less is more. Like when you go to the grocery store, less is more. All right. Here is another stitching box. So if you can see, so if you're first to watching me, this is me. But I had made, when did I do this? I can't remember. Couple months ago, this was my first stitching box. I used a cigar box that my dad had gotten for my mom. This was out of, I do love blackbirds along with everybody else in the universe. This is from the Loose Feathers Autumn. So this was a sewing box. I just changed up the colors a little bit differently. And then I did this small. And when I shared my first year, when I did my Flossiversary, my 1-year Flossiversary video, this was the favorite project that I had done all year. Then this was the second favorite. So we got number 1 and number 2. This box got me going because already I was thinking about small house living because of the cabin. And then Jenny Stitching Simply was talking about when her kids are gone, grown up on their own. She and her husband are thinking about moving and doing small house living. And so she had been talking about minimizing and simplifying, and it really got my thinking going. So I've been thinking about that for a while, because probably in response to the excess that I am in when I'm in my sewing room with all this wonderful stuff that I love. So then I had done another whole video, this is the graphic, one other video all about this. Let's see if I can dump it. Okay. This is the one that I use when I do my finishing of my smalls, because it has those threads. And so I had shared all about this and the needlework in that video. So I'm going to shut that up. But this is just so you see, I've been having fun. So I'm doing the needle books too. Obsessed with needle books, and now obsessed with stitching boxes. But they can also be used for decoration. So this was the one that I had done last time. And I love all the details. Details, details, details is what I've been loving. So this was the free pattern from the Primitive Hare whole video, all about the box. I got no shortage of stories about things. Well, this is my new box. So here we go. This was a piece, a stitched piece that didn't work out. This was on the Cordy Special Blend. So here's something funny. As I had done, I was playing around. I had had this box for a long time, and I was playing around. So I had, like, when you look at this, okay, it's just natural. I had used coconut oil to beautify up, and the wood was very dry. I just used coconut oil to bring the luster back into the wood. Then this one, I had used a stain from when my husband was doing some trim up at the cabin, and then I used the brie wax, Tudor Brown. I just have one brie wax, and I was thinking about getting a light brown, and I thought, no. And now I'll show you why. For me, as a primitive lover, the Tudor Brown is perfect. And if I'm simplifying, one jar of wax is enough. So this was stain with the wax on it, so you can see the dimension that gives. And I love this kind of thing. Then this was just 2 layers of that brie wax. So I did the brie wax, sanded it down, and I tried to sand off some glue. That's why I got this cool button here, because it didn't come off. So each box I do, I want to test out. And I write in my stitching journal, or if I haven't, I'm going to check and make sure I did that today. I am writing in there what I have done to get it to look like that. So I wanted to do something different. So I had the raw umber Americana paint that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby. And I had this is the box that I got for $2.50 at Hobby Lobby, and I had shared. A lot of them are crappy, so you got to really look and make sure it's good. And I'm going to show you. I got one, and it has problems because they're cheap. So this is a magnet one. It's not so magnety. The magnet's not as tight now that I worked with it for whatever reason. But $2.50 for this box. So this is the raw umber paint. I painted it. So I got my old paint supplies out when I had closed up my workroom. My office now was my and it still makes me sad. That was my painting studio. There was paint everywhere. When I cleared that out, when I realized I needed another business, it was sad. It was sad for me. But I saved my paintbrushes, and I saved it because that was my dream. That was me. My supplies and my designs, and many of them, probably half of them, I made up my own. That was my contribution to that realm. So I saved those. So I got my brushes out. I've been using my brushes over the years, but I got my little paint container things that you mix paint in out, and it felt so good. So I mixed it with water because I knew I wanted it a little see-through. So the Americana raw umber. See, I could take a simple thing and make it last forever. So I did 2 layers. So a little bit of water on that paintbrush, mix it up with the paint, slap it on, let it dry, sand it down. Underneath here, I'm going to show you, I still have my old sanding, they're sponge sanding pads. I got those out. Some of them over a decade, they were no good anymore, but it's really a lot easier than sandpaper. Anyway, and then so that was raw umber. Did I paint it a second time? I don't think so. I think I painted it once. This is a couple weeks now. Sanded it down. Then, oh, that's what I did. Then I did the brie wax one time over, and it can be a mess. I don't want those chemicals. There is a lot of toxic chemicals, I am sure, in that brie wax. And so I have colorist gloves. So people that would color your hair, I have those gloves. So they're thick and they don't want to let the chemicals through. I put those on when I do this. So I did the brie wax, and there was something was not quite right. I think so. I may have sanded it. I think I did. I sanded it down. I think I did a second coat, and then I rubbed it. So you just rub it with a rag and it brings out that shine. So I was so pleased with how it turned out because it has that rustic look that I like. So this is Camelot's Rose. This was a design. I'm still working on that Camelot's Rose needle book by From the Heart Needle Art. From the Heart Needle Art, I think, by Wendy Petros. Anyway, as I put this on here, I was thinking, it's boring, because I didn't even want to waste a button. I put it on there and I thought, I'll just center it and then give it away as a gift. See, I'm so selfish. And then I thought, I can primitize it. So this was too light. So it was this color, and it was just ultra boring. It was just boring to me because I wanted primitive. So I thought, well, what the heck? Even though this was hand dyed, so this is hand dyed, over-dyed cotton. I thought, if it screws up, it screws up. So I have this. This is from the days I played with makeup. A $1 elf brush. This is really good. I got this in the coffee dregs, and I just painted it on. I painted it on kind of carefully. I didn't just dunk it. But I knew, and yes, it did. It ran a little bit. But you know what? It adds to that primitive look for me. So I had this because, I know why I really needed to do it, because I did not put a piece of dark linen behind it, and I had traveled. So you could really see those travels had gone from like one place to another. And it showed, and I just thought, So I primitized it and I fixed it. So then I loved it. So then I went through and played with my buttons, and these are my buttons from my mom's. There you can kind of see it. From my mom's vintage buttons. It's an etched star in that button. I have 2 of them. One of them has a mark on it. But I love it. And because you can see, there's one of my zappy dots. I ordered some round, strong magnets. They're sitting out in the cargo ships waiting for me. So I just stole another one of those zappy dots magnets, and see, awesome. And then I've got my handmade lip balm and my unstitcher. So unstitch a lot. So I just have this next to me. I was going to use it for an Ort container, but I actually have an Ort container already that I love and I use. So now this guy sits over here, fits right there, next to my sewing machine, and that's my thing. So I am having so much fun finishing, and that's what that first year for me of FlossTube was, getting back into cross stitching, finding some things that worked, and learning and gaining confidence, and watching Lori from Mischievous Stitches. That's where I first learned about these these are called plain card boxes from Hobby Lobby. She did a tutorial. That's where I learned about the brie wax. I'm watching Vana. Then there's other people. Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. So many people are doing tutorials, and I watch, and then I try, and then I do. So one more thing that I did was this box. This was the next size up, and I had showed it last time. This was like $4.99, I think. Well, here's the deal on this one. This one, it was like aloe vera, I think, was the paint. It was really, really, see, I'm going to have to do it because you touch it and when you do their brie wax. So It was green, and it was very, very light green. I don't do light green. I like these kind of greens. So I knew it was going to darken up though. So I painted it, and you can see it had a problem. So I painted it, and you can see where there's glue in the corner. That's not going to do anything different, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to put fabric in the bottom. Well, I had realized when I bought this one, this was the best one they had, but they drilled through, when they went to drill, it's just a little tiny, tiny dowel that they use in there. So you can see a tiny, tiny dowel. Well, this one didn't get drilled quite right. It got drilled messed up. But I wanted to try it and see. So I thought either my husband can fix it, or I'm going to ask them for my money back. And since I already invested product in this, I'm just going to ask them if I can keep this one. Anyway, this is for my bigger stuff. But I have a project. I started my project that I'm going to do with this. This is the same thing. One thing of paint with a little bit of water so it goes on thin. Sand it down. One layer of the Brie Wax brown Tudor, or Tudor brown, and then you rub it off, and it gives a beautiful buffed part. Now, when I applied that, when I did these two things on here, so you can see this is, I can use this, it's padded and it's laced, so I can stick a pin in there, but it's not really going to stay. So I can stick that, so I've got a needle stuck through there and a needle stuck right here, and see, boom, boom, good magnet, and it's going to stay on there. When I went to apply this, I got my sanding sponge, and I was careful because if you stick something to that wax, it's going to have a hard time sticking. So I sanded down where I put this and where I put that. So that's what I'm playing with, but I'm going to show you. Okay, it's already 56 minutes. And I'm tired, so I'm going to show you the project that I decided to do with it, but I'm using caper, and that caper is a dark green, and I'm not happy with it. So I am going to switch over, and look at this is Garrison green, and that's going to be the perfect green for that. It's so many things I was going to tell you. Let's stop this for now. I have a lot of stuff that I can show, but I know I get super tired. Like, I get super tired, and then I have a hard time talking. So I have a lot of stuff on here, but I have works in progress. See? This is the problem. I have a lot of whips with stuff that I dyed. See, I'm going to show you some stuff that I got going, and that was some linen that I over dyed. So I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to show you. I still have lots more. So maybe I'll take a break and come back, or maybe I'll get called to work. I don't know. So that's what I've been working on, and that's what's been going on in my life. And I have so much stuff here that I have got to do another video. So I'm going to say thank you guys so much for watching. And then this is where I'm going to share the good stuff. So where I share my faith in action, and I share my love of Jesus. And I also want to thank you guys so much for this beautiful community. As things are going on in the world, and everywhere. Things are going on everywhere. Nowhere is exempt from stuff going on. And as I'm seeing this community, it is so special to me. Your comments to me, your support, your love, the friends that I watch, and I watch their FlossTubes and Instagram. When I'm not really big on Instagram right now, but I'll go in and I'll peek at different people's things. And I think I will. I'm having trouble with the pictures on my phone. That's why I owe pictures for this one, but I could not post it. The pictures on my phone somehow are jammed, and I can't get those posted on Instagram. So I'll see how to transfer them to my iPad. But I'm going to use my iPad and go around and take pictures of my fall decorations, and I do want to post those on Instagram. So I just get overwhelmed, and right now Instagram is just overwhelming. I'm getting overwhelmed by it. It's not doing nothing but just doing there. So anyway, I'll do that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you guys, and those of you that hang with me for the good stuff. This is what I would love to share. Oh, it's reflecting. So this is what I would love to share with you. So as I've been transitioning, and as I've been, I don't like change. And so I would be happy. This was our first home that we bought in '87. I would be happy to live out my days here. It's a 1-story house. It's small. It's under 1,400 square feet. Small. That's a great size of a house for 2 people. Beautiful yard, because my husband and I have done it all, and I would love to live out my days here. But we don't know what tomorrow holds. Don't even know what this afternoon holds. So I don't know. And I'm having to hold things loosely. I was watching. I put in a movie last night. I ordered Lark Rise to Candleford. I'd watched that years ago, and then Christy Crosshatch Quilts was talking about it, and I thought, oh. So I like to buy the DVDs because I'll watch those over and over and over. And I just sat and watched all 3 of them because I was just so tired. I had had a rough work day for a couple days. And I was just sitting there watching. I was looking out my window, and I'm a landscaper. I am my own landscaper. But I have always landscaped my own garden ever since I was a little girl. And the way that I've done it right now, we have a lot of stone and wood and plants and decomposed granite. And I was just looking out there, and I thought, and I was watching Lark Rise to Candleford too, and it always gets me teary. And I just started crying, and I thought, for now, this is my home. We may have to sell it, depending on how life goes, but for now, this is our home. And then I thought, oh my word, here I am feeling sorry for myself. And my heart goes out to all those that are stuck in bad places, especially right now, Afghanistan. And I thought, oh, I am in a safe place. I am good. I'm choosing to be happy. And so it's really a mindset thing. So that's what I'm really trying to work out. My mindset. I am responsible for my thinking. And nobody can make me feel a certain way. Someone can try to make me feel like a second-class citizen. But I am a child of God. I am not a second-class citizen. I am a child of God, and I am stronger than I think I am because it's His strength working through me. And that's what I got to keep telling myself. So I've had so many different thoughts, and one of them is the verse about I will shake what can be shaken, so the things that won't be shaken are left. I found that verse. That's what I'm going to read to you, and some verses around it. But I had memorized that verse during another hard time in our life, and it's given me strength. And then other things like just lots of other verses that I think about. It gives me strength and it makes me stand up. It's like, yes, I am a child of God, and He is taking care of me no matter what. I know David and Jonathan in the Bible, they went on an attack, and or maybe it was just Jonathan. Anyway, all these things, it doesn't matter. I don't have to remember everything about it. But they were going to go, and they were going to go do something that was right to do. And they said, God can save us. I think it was Jonathan saying, God can save us. Yet, if He doesn't, still I will go. So we don't know God's, well, we know God's heart, but we don't know everything that will happen. We can ask, we are told to pray, we are told to ask. We can supplicate, we can beg the Lord. And I will trust I am in His hand. I am cherished by Him. So all in all, things are getting shaken that we didn't think would be shaken. And we will see what is left. So here's what I wanted to share with you. So I looked it up, and I'll just Google, where's the verse that says I'll shake what can be shaken? And it just came up with Hebrews 12. So this is the section, and it's called, and it's Hebrews 12, it's the end. Hear the heavenly voice. This is the part that I wanted to read to you. He has promised, saying, yet once more I shake not only the earth, but also heaven. And I have a really cool study Bible. So all this section is the study. So if I don't understand something down here, I'll look there. And I thought, well, what was the first time the earth was shaken? Well, it was at Mount Sinai, or Mount Sinai, however you say that. So, yet once more, I shake not only the earth, but also heaven. Now this, yet once more, indicates the removal of those things that are being shaken, as of things that are made, that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. So for me, that's saying all these things that I had in my life that I thought I had. I thought my garden would always be mine. I thought this room would always be mine. I've been telling my husband, in all the stress that we're under right now, this is my happy place. This room is my haven. And I want to hold it all tightly, but I've got to hold it loosely because my life is in God's hands. All this is mine, but all this is his too. So I have to hold it loosely. That does not come naturally to me. So he's saying he's going to shake things. Things are going to happen. I believe we're in the birth pangs of the end times. And things are going to get shaken, both literally in the Bible. It talks about earthquakes, pestilence, cultures against cultures. There's a lot of things talked about in the Bible that are happening right now. And things are going to happen. But what cannot be shaken may remain. So when I look down here, it says the earth shook at Mount Sinai. The earth and heaven will shake in the latter days. See Matthew 24:29. But the kingdom of God will not be shaken, for it will endure throughout all eternity. And it was so funny. I took my first lift ride, so I had my car fixed, and it took longer than they had told me it would. So they arranged for a shuttle home and a shuttle back. That was my first time I did Lyft or Uber or anything, and I was nervous. I don't like first time things. God was so good. Each of the gentlemen, and that was the other thing I thought. My friend's a woman, and she does Uber driving. I just thought a woman was going to come, and I thought, oh, it's a guy. And I just thought, I'm in your hands, God. And these two gentlemen were awesome. And the one that took me back, we ended up in a conversation, and it was just like, oh, yes, he was a believer too. And we were just talking, and it was just so neat. I don't know where I got with that. But, he said, we just can't even understand the concept of eternity because everything we know has a time frame, an expiration, a best by date. So eternity. So even though for right now I am here in this home, for right now, for how long, I don't know. But if I look at eternity, I am in God's heavenly home. And if I think this is cool, eternity with God ruling, God who loves me, all powerful, all knowing, ruling. Oh, that's going to be one. I was going to say that's going to be heaven. It is. It's going to be heaven. Okay, so then I was just reading this. So this is Hebrews 13, verse 5. Let your conduct be without covetousness. This has been hitting hard for me because it's like, Stitch what you got. Don't covet what I don't have. Let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? And that's a scary thing right now as our police force is diminished. It has been diminished. They have not chosen to diminish. Our safety is at risk. Many open border. Our safety is at risk. But what can man do to me? I shall not fear because God is for me and he holds my eternity. Remember those who rule over you, who have spoken the word of God to you, whose faith follow considering the outcome of their conduct. So what that's telling me is, remember those who are my role models. I have many spiritual role models, and I look at their conduct and I look at them walking out their faith, and I will follow them as my example. And one of those is my wonderful sweet Elna, a lady who really challenged me to celebrate the holidays that honor God. And that shook me up a lot at that time. I didn't like it. I wasn't happy with it because I had a lot of changes to make. But she has formed my life in a lot, and it's good. So for it is good that the heart be established by grace. So those were the verses. Oh, and here's something else. Okay, I will never leave you nor forsake you. This quotation is one of the most emphatic statements in the New Testament. In Greek, it contains 2 double negatives, similar to saying in English, I will never, ever, ever forsake you. Jesus uses the same technique to express the certainty of eternal life for believers. See John 10:28. So in all that, in all the challenges that I'm going through, in all the challenges that everybody in some form is going through challenges, God will never leave us or forsake us. We need to put ourselves into his hands. He will not take us out of our own thought. If we want to stay separated from God, he will honor that. It says he stands at the door and knocks. If we allow him to have access and to come, if we ask him into our house, our life, into our hearts, he will come in and he will sup with us. I'm so emotional right now. Anyway, that's in Revelations. We choose to ask him into our hearts, which I have. So he can never, ever be taken from me. So I hold on to that, and I just challenge you to ask God, what can he help you with right now? If you're not even sure if he exists, just ask him, are you real? Can you show me? What do you have that would be good for me? What do you offer? Are you there, God? He'll show you. He will show you. And I thank you so much for following and staying with me. And I talk to you just like I would if we were hanging out here. And so I value those of you who say that you just feel like you're stitching and hanging out with me, because that's how I do it. That's why I do it. And I also want to be an encouragement. So I pray that I have been. And I'll see, because I've got to get this table cleaned off because I need to make some project bags. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get a cup of my decaf and get me all juiced up and finish up what I've got, because I want to share this with you. I found this, my Grandma Brown, and I'm going to share a little story about that. And anyway, thank you. Check up for me again. Bye.